Hello everybody, welcome back to the Chris Review, where we review people named Chris. This time we're entering the wonderful world of comedy as we review our second Chris, Chris Farley. Now, Farley was a comedic genius. He joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1990 alongside, Chris Rock. Don't you dare butt into my show, Chris Rock. I'm not reviewing you, I never will. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, Chris Rock. Go back to A Very Murray Christmas, or whatever you're in now. On SNL, Farley played several memorable characters, and I would just play a few clips here, but a lot of his comedy is super esoteric and complicated if you don't have the right frame of reference, so I'm gonna segue into a new segment of this show called Joke Explainer, the segment where I explain jokes. Let's go! So, here's the premise. Two parents, worried about the futures of their teen children, decide to hire a motivational speaker to hopefully get through to them and change their worldviews. This is the canvas on which Farley's comedy is painted.
Now let's get started by letting me give you a little bit of a scenario of what my life is all about. First off, I am 35 years old, I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
Now, this joke has three parts. Firstly,
I am 35 years old.
To understand this, you need to wind back to the year this episode was aired, 1993. Bill Clinton had just replaced George H.W. Bush as president, and the US was emerging from a fierce nuclear war with the Soviet Union. During the Bush years, an executive order was signed conscripting all the nation's able-bodied, able-minded men into the war effort. This radically changed the structure of the American family and caused a lot of tension domestically. At the time that this episode of Saturday Night Live aired, men who had served in the armed forces were only just beginning to return home, and the idea of a 35-year-old man in such a position as motivational speaker was humorous and unexpected. This is why Farley follows up with the next two lines. I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river. Because of course he would be. His life had presumably been taken away from him at a young age, and the weakening of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs meant that, at the time, rebuilding family life was something not a lot could do. What else was there but to live alone, divorced, wandering the nuclear wasteland, in a van, down by the river? Cool little obscure fact here. Chris Farley was originally supposed to be the voice of Shrek.
People see me and they go, "Ah! Help! A big, stupid, stinky, smelly, ugly ogre! I'm so scared!" They judge me before they even know me.
Ah, what could have been. But apparently they recorded 95% of Farley's lines before his death, and very little of this version has ever been shown to the public. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Let's get into a theory corner. Okay, so here's what I think. Chris Farley actually did finish his work for Shrek before dying, and his voiceovers totally could have and would have been in the final movie, but something got in the way. As we all know, the role of Shrek ultimately went to Mike Myers, who was actually an SNL cast member around the same time as Farley. Very interesting. Perhaps, Mike Myers personally broke into the DreamWorks headquarters and destroyed all of Farley's hard work himself. Was it because of a personal beef? Pure lust for power? Perhaps we'll never know. But shame on you, Mike Myers. Why would you do such a thing? Final ratings. Body. Well, it could break tables good enough, so nothing to complain about there. Apparently he showed Chris Rock his penis a lot, which I found that fact on Wikipedia, and there were 3 different numbers next to it, so I'm just gonna take it as truth. Anyway, I guess it must have been a pretty good one then. Body gets a solid 4. Mind. Yeah, he was a great comedian. I'm fine giving him the full 5 stars. I mean, how can you not like this guy? And soul? Well, he seemed like an interesting guy at least. I'm gonna give this 3 stars, middle of the road. Final rating, once again gonna be 4 stars. Next time on the Chris Review, well, we're gonna look at another Chris.